So my idea initially for this started when I saw Enter Caliban. I was kind of fascinated by the scene because I don't know, it's just so grandiose. It's just Enter Caliban. So the lines I chose were the first appearance of Caliban, and what really drew me to the scene was the line Enter Caliban. Something about it just spoke to me. And since the first appearance of a character is usually how you get to know them, figure out their personality, perhaps even a backstory there too, I really wanted to explore Caliban as he's first introduced, and that's why I decided to talk about it. And decided to do like an art piece just of what the stage direction and the stage play would look like.
This was the initial sketch of Caliban. He's sort of a monster in this sketch. Red eyes, pale skin. It was inspired by Nosferatu. Uh, Tall, long limbs, kind of like a monster. Ashy skin. So it's like a. And I pondered upon it, and based on some of the descriptions he was given, I came up with this design. This one is a little bit more complex. He's imperfect. He has scales all over his body. He's bony. He's neither fish nor fowl. His eyes are odd. They look different. He's vaguely handsome, but clearly inhuman. There's parts of his body that are missing, unfinished, like shaped out of clay, but not quite done yet. His hands are crude. They're lizard-like. Flesh and scales mix in an unholy abomination. And he is tall.
So in class, we were showed a video of uh, the performers performing at the the Globe Theater. So, and there were these two big columns that were holding up the ceiling. So, I had an idea of using the columns, if that was possible, as part of the play in a more interactive way. So, the scene where Prospero calls Caliban, Caliban is up at the very top of the pillar, chained up.
This is the scene where he's chained up. Just numerous amounts of chains around the pillar. He's constantly struggling against these chains. I had this image in my mind because I've read a lot of folklore, and what usually hurts spirits is iron and salt. So these chains are made of iron, and they're hurting him. They're scraping against his skin. Just being chained up is torture.
He's sort of always been there, chained up and always watching, held together in place by Prospero's magic. And as Prospero calls him down, he repels down using his chains down the pillar. He repels down and he gets to the very bottom. Caliban repels down from the pillar and he's still chained up to the pillar. And as Prospero calls him, his chains magically fall away. And as they begin their back and forth, he steps onto a rock to make himself appear more grandiose, more powerful than he really is. And since Caliban's a being of nature, he's already connected to the earth. He's dressed in rags, very dusty, dark, scaly skin, mismatched eyes, very unkempt figure. And he steps onto the rock and begins his speech, proclaiming the island as his.
For the visualization and for the scene work, I had a shot of the island with the morning sun illuminating everything. The island is in shape of a crescent moon, just like his god Sebatos. He walks towards the sunset. So initially, he had a quite different plan in mind for the scene where Caliban's talking initially. I had him up on a rock, proclaiming to the heavens that everything here is mine. But after reflection, I decided to have a more melancholic scene of Caliban walking to the beaches, looking at the birds, the trees, everywhere around him, looking at the sun, looking at what his mother left for him, and just having this feeling of restlessness that Prosperos and Miranda are maybe hampering on his domain, hampering on where his sweet berries are. And I'm not going a bit too far, so this is a melancholic scene there. And he's just walking to the beach, and he's talking to the audience. He's not talking to Prospero. He's saying, look at this island, look at everything. Look at everything that's on it. Look at this beauty, look at its splendor. And maybe it is sort of like a faint outline of where his mother usually stands behind him or something. And then when he's talking to Prospero, you notice the size discrepancy. Caliban is huge compared to Prospero. Prospero is just some withering old man, while Caliban easily 7 foot. He's what you would describe as a monster. And he's talking, and he's not talking to you. You realize he's talking to the audience.
And so I just kind of wanted to imagine that scene and lay it out a little bit. And as well as when Prospero returns, Caliban shrinks away. And I wanted him to still be on the rock. There's this scene in John Milton's Paradise Lost that calls to me, drawn by Gustave Doré, where Lucifer is on a rock, hiding away in shame, and God is appears before him in all his glory. So I kind of wanted to replicate that with Prospero and Caliban. A sort of dynamic. There's sort of a dynamic power play there. That's another scene. And as Prospero is talking about the assault on his daughter Miranda, I kind of want a sly smile on Caliban's face as well, a sinister grin, if you will, and some eerie music playing. So those were the scenes I thought most important to articulate, to illustrate, to draw.